Hi again, everyone. This video is sponsored by a donation from Anonymous, and this is what she wants you to know. Hi, Ollie. I'm a New York Times best-selling writer of over 20 novels, and to look at me and my success, you would not know the pain and chaos of my fucked-up life. I chose to remain anonymous because as you have discovered, trolls lurk everywhere, and I can't wait to make themselves feel better by fucking up your day. The only way they can get to me these days is by trashing me and my books on Amazon and Borders online. And believe me, they would and do. As an aside here, Ollie, I would like to tell you that the attacks always hurt and annoy, but you will develop a thicker skin as time goes on. And I know that, and I don't let people on the internet generally get under my skin. But it's when, my follower, the people who are subscribing, are being attacked, that's when I get really pissed. Anyway, I just discovered narcissism a few months ago when I was looking up compulsive versus pathological liars. What I discovered was that my ex-husband is both. I also discovered narcissist abuse survivors like yourself. I was stunned. You were all describing my former husband and his family to a T. Up until I learned that the term narcissist meant something other than a person who loves their own reflection, I always referred to the ex and his family as psycho nutballs, and not in an endearing way either. They are the greediest, most entitled, lying quarters you'll never want to meet. They rewrite their own history from day to day, sometimes from minute to minute. When caught in a lie, no matter how big or trivial, they never admit it, but double down and write it out until the same people in the room are exhausted. During one of the first Thanksgiving dinners shortly after my marriage, my mother-in-law announced to the table that she did not believe in spanking children. Children should never be hit for any reason, and that she never hit her kids. I was so astonished by this statement that I looked down at the table and said, "James told me you beat him with wooden spoons or whatever was handy, and that you stuck a fork in his leg when he was 5 for not putting his napkin on his lap quick enough." Ollie, the table got so quiet you could have heard a pin drop in the next room. They all turned to look at me like I had done something wrong, like I jumped up on the table and punted the turkey through the glass window. Now, you probably should have anyway. And believe me, my former husband verbally kicked the shit out of me when we got home. And to answer the next question, no, he never stood up for me. Never, not once. The former mother-in-law often forgot her grandchildren's birthday, but somehow remembered report card day. Every semester on exactly report card day, she would call and have the ex read her the kids' grades over the phone. Of course, they were never good enough. Anything below a B grade was never the ex's fault and proved that I was stupid and lazy. Then she would suggest ways for the former husband to punish the 3 children. That really meant ways that I should punish the children, which I refused to do, which in turn caused a huge blow-up that usually lasted several weeks. That is just one example of her many shit-stirring phone calls. Another emasculated son husband here. Her greed and entitlement knows no bounds. When his mother died, she was left the property on which her brother's business would resided. It was supposed to go to the brother, but the greedy bitch guilted their dying mother into leaving it to her. Within the same year of the mother's death, the brother's youngest son was tragically killed. You can probably guess what happened next. Yep, 2 months after the son's funeral, which she gored her fat pie hole, my former mother-in-law sold the property out from the brother's business and gave him 30 days to move his industrial equipment. Did she feel the least bit bad for what she had done? Hell no. She turned everything around and acted like she was the victim. In that family dynamic, my ex was alternatively ignored or treated as the scapegoat. To this day, he chases after his mother's love, and still she treats him like shit. He's a narcissist too. With his bag of narcissist tricks, the bullying me and the kids and throwing us under the bus to impress everyone around him, the lying and gaslighting and rages, often standing at the top of the stairs totally naked and screaming. They love being naked and showing and throwing their weight around. The children and I would just look at him and try not to laugh at the ridiculous sight. If we laughed, he would charge down the stairs naked and bring his dick eye level. No one wanted that. He was never physically abusive, but he was very abusive in any other way possible. He traveled and was out of town 4 days a week. I always shielded my children from him, and he tried to be their soft place to land. And I tried to be their soft place to land. I told myself they'd be okay, that my influence and his absence from our home was enough. It wasn't. They are all grown with children of their own, but they bear the scars of living with a narcissistic father. 2 of the 3 have nothing to do with him. Of course he blames me, but I don't care. I have little to no contact with him. My middle daughter was his golden child and still communicates with him. I'm afraid she is just like him, and it breaks my heart. She causes pain and chaos and has 3 wonderful babies she uses to punish me when I don't give her what she wants. So here's my question, Ollie. Is there some sort of narc school that turns out narcissists? I mean, it is so puzzling to me that people around the world who have never even met nor probably ever looked up the definition of narcissism act the same way and have the same predictable traits. Or is it more like Down syndrome? Is there a narcissistic spectrum that incorporates varying degrees of the personality, but basically they all have short fingers and spread toes? Thanks for keeping up the good work, Anonymous. Well, you would think there's a narc school, but there's not. It's just society. It's the way society has been bred. And, we went to, in this society, as a very apple pie and, in the 50s to this whole counterculture. And it's been going more and more. So whether it was in the 50s or the 40s where this started, it still wasn't talked about. And then it almost moved to be celebrated in our culture. This self-promotion and through the media and through Facebook and social networking, it's all selfie, 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 selfie. What do you think the whole selfie craze is? And the people that are constantly posting pictures about themselves and updates. And all this stuff has been put before us that does nothing but breed narcissism. Because it's these social networks or these false fronts that allow that allow people to be whatever they want to be, put out whatever their false sense of themselves is, and then everything around it is based on protecting that. It creates narcissists in our society in general. So now we're at the point where you have narcissism out in full view, and it's not even recognized as damaging because of look at what we do all day on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on whatever. And it's always me, 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 me. And we're all guilty of it to some level. But the people who have actually grown up with narcissists in our family, we're the ones who take the most damage for it. Okay? Because there is no love in our home. Like even if you're on social media and you're one of these selfie princesses or whatever it is, these attention seekers, but you could still come from a normal family and have some sense of normalcy to keep you somewhat grounded. We don't have that. We just suffer in silence and watch these narcissists just put out that false front and that mask in front of everybody we know is fake. And because we have spent our childhoods growing up abused and put down and emasculated on a lot of times, and having it for the women, having their sexuality taken from them, and having every fear and every sense of being unsure, just compounded by these people. It seems like there's a school for them. But, the actual school is just society itself and how we're living. And look, and because for so long, you're right, the definition of narcissism is somebody who enjoyed their own reflection in the mirror. And it was such an elementary explanation of it where, Nobody ever got down into narcissistic personality disorder because as children, how do we explain it? You know, we can barely verbalize any type of feeling, let alone the manipulative traits of a narcissist. But again, you see the same tactics repeated over and over and over again with these narcissists. Over and over and over again. The lying, the screwing over family members on the will, throwing people out after a tragedy, power plays, the scapegoated husband you married, okay, trying to suck up to mommy's tea into his 30s, 40s, and 50s, however old he is at this point, okay, only to continually be slapped down, and then him to take his frustrations that his mommy doesn't want to share the pudding cup without the spoon with him on the couch. He then manifests into aggression towards you, his daughters, and in the process, he ended up creating the same dynamic that you grew up with: scapegoated children, a golden child, and a golden child. The golden child who turned into him, and is the only one who remains in, keeps any type of contact with him, and two other children who want nothing to do with him, and of course, as narcissists are wont to do, blames you for it and takes no responsibility for his actions, for his little man-child naked time rages with his dick in your face, which is nothing more than some sexualized power play, probably because his mommy used to beat him while she was naked. God, but that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. And I understand that because my father always used to get in my face when he was naked. Always tried it. Always, always, always. And it's just fucked up. It is just fucked up. And this person, and Anonymous, also sent me a link to her website, which I'm not going to include because then you're going to know who she is. But she is a very popular, best-selling New York Times author. So even with 20 best-selling novels, even with that, she is no different than any of you. Whether you're stuck in a situation, you're broke, you're bankrupt, money isn't the answer to this. Success isn't. It doesn't matter. This destroys everybody. And that's why you think there's some kind of school for this. The school from narcissism is society itself, is modern culture itself. It's a breeding ground for it because now it excuses it. Whereas if these tactics were exposed years ago, people would say that person's an abuser. But there was still a hush-hush mentality about it. Now it's celebrated. Now I think it's even worse. Because now you're being gaslighted by society, is really what it is. And every time you turn on the media, you turn on the TV, you watch these shows, it's narcissistic gaslighting by society. And it's a sad thing. But we as narcissists, survivors who are trying to come through this, we have all the knowledge because now we can step back and we can look and we can see it for what it is. And we don't have to live under that blanket with blinders on anymore because we have the knowledge. And we know it's not us just by channels like this and stories like this where everybody is telling everybody else's story and it's real validation. Like, oh my God, after all these years, I'm not crazy. It's not me. It's something bigger going on here. And now I'm at the forefront of it. I'm ahead of the curve. And I'm going to come through this on the other side for the better. So, yeah, there is no school. It's society itself. Thank you so much for your contribution, and thank you again for your story. Thank you everybody who's watching. Please leave any advice or comments in the comments section below. And again, if you have an issue, a topic, a story you'd like on my channel, you'd like me to read for you, and you want it immediately, you know what to do with the PayPal link in the description box. I'll have it right out to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye-bye.